In this video, we are forecasting a monster winter storm that will bring a ton of snow to many in the US. Additionally, this storm is so dynamic that it will likely spark a multi-day severe weather threat that may cause large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. We're focusing on two storms today. I mean, there's a bunch coming, but we're gonna focus on two. The first one starts tonight into tomorrow, and it's a little bit more of a minor storm with a slight severe weather risk. But the second one starts this weekend, and I think it's gonna be a monster storm with heavy snow and an even greater risk for severe weather. So we are really going to watch it going forward. But for now, let's take a look at the radar. All right, here's a big old view of the United States of America. And once again, we are enjoying very favorable weather through much of the United States here, especially in the eastern portion, up through the Great Lakes, the Midwest, the Southeast especially. We do have a little bit of snow up here in Maine that's going to be working out really soon. By the time this video goes up, it'll be gone. And we've got some areas of light to moderate rain falling along the West Coast. This is associated with our next little storm that's moving in. And that's also what has sparked this winter storm warning here in Wyoming and South Dakota. Now, I've referred to this storm as a minor storm compared to the second one multiple times so far, but don't get me wrong, it's definitely going to pack a punch. Let's take a look at it on the weather models. All right, here's the 3-kilometer NAM model. And as always, if you want to keep up with the date and time of everything that I'm showing, it's always listed above my head. So this is sort of what the radar could look like as we go forward. I like showing these reflectivity mock-ups on the weather models here, and really everything starts coming together around 10 p.m. tonight as we go into the early morning hours tomorrow. We're going to be talking about some heavy snow showers breaking out in the Four Corners region all the way up into Wyoming. Once again, associated with that winter storm warning. This is going to start off as an isolated snow squall event and then eventually consolidate into a big precipitation shield, as you can see there, around 1 a.m. In the morning. And then out in front of it, look here, we've got some showers and maybe some claps of thunder popping up out in front of it. Nebraska here near Gothenburg and Sutherland expects some rain showers with a couple rumbles of thunder tonight as we really get this low pressure system starting to crank up. Looky there, it actually kind of intensifies there. These may be actual thunderstorms, and then that's going to head on up into Iowa. And looky there, we've still got some of these thunderstorms, some heavier areas of rain moving into Iowa in the early morning hours tomorrow. And if we shift our attention back on the backside here, we've got heavy snow all through Wyoming, and now it's working into western Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota. The rain showers make it all the way up into the upper peninsula of Michigan here at 6 a.m., but they really start moving in around 9 a.m. And we've just got a big area of scattered showers and rumbles of thunder all across this area here, and it's scattered in nature until that low pressure system really starts to consolidate a more solid shield of precipitation here that works through southern Minnesota all the way through Wisconsin into the UP of Michigan all the way into Ontario there, where this is going to be a solid shield of just some moderate rain. And then once again on the backside, we're talking about heavy snow in South Dakota right along the I-90 corridor there near Chamberlain and Mitchell. We could be talking about heavy snow rates in excess of 2 inches per hour, but it could be brief because this is going to move by pretty quickly. It's going to move to your north, but the entire state of South Dakota could expect a couple hours of heavy snow as this moves forward. And then we're getting into the heating of the day here. We've got a little bit more instability to work up here on the front side of that low pressure system with these storms, so we may see these try to spark up and get a little bit heavier with the rain, with a little bit more thunder, a little bit more lightning. Then as we push it a little bit more, look at this tail right here. You see that? You see that? Isn't that cute? This is what we thought was going to turn out to be a linear convective system the other day, with possibly some severe weather in here as it moves off to the east. But there's just not enough moisture. There's not enough convective energy up here to make that happen. So I don't think there's going to be a severe weather threat in Iowa at 7 p.m. tomorrow like we originally thought. However, this low pressure system is really kicking down some cold air and some dry air into an area of warm and unstable air down here. So I do believe we're going to see some storms pop up in Kansas. And yes, look at this. 10 p.m. tomorrow night, we see the storms popping up here all the way down into Oklahoma, central Kansas, around the Kansas City area. They're really going to start popping up, and this is why the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather for this area. This is all going to start around 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night, and yes, these are going to be nighttime thunderstorms. It's never good to have nighttime thunderstorms. The good news with this is there's not a big chance of tornadoes. It's mainly going to be a damaging wind and hail threat, but you don't want them naders in the dark, son. The naders in the daylight's bad enough. But naders in the dark? Oh man, I gotta make a country song like called Naders in the Dark. Eating some taters while hiding from a nader in the dark, son. Anyways, storm's gonna be popping up here in Kansas and Oklahoma, and then they really start to ramp up around midnight, 1 a.m. there in eastern Kansas. And this is gonna be a cluster of thunderstorms that probably turns into somewhat of a linear system, a bow echo, and we may see some damaging winds, but I do believe that the top threat, once again with these storms, is gonna be hail. So look out for that that if you're around the Kansas City region into central Missouri. As you can see, those storms really do move into the Missouri area there around 1 a.m. And I really am watching this southern portion down here. You see this? The NAM says maybe there's some renegade cells that pop up down here and take advantage of the more unstable air down there. And if that happens, these storms could definitely be more severe or possibly even tornadic, as our supercell composite, our convective energy, everything is just a little bit more intense down here. But it does look like the main area of precipitation is going to be up to the north, where there's a little bit less energy. So these storms won't be as significant as these, if these even show up down here. So we've got to keep our eye on that. Let's push it forward a little bit. And once again, those storms make it through Missouri, and they're going to weaken quite a bit, and they're just going to be heavy rain showers once they move into Illinois and Indiana. Now, one of the reasons why we even have a severe weather threat with this storm is because of the dynamic dew point setup. We've got some decently moist air and warm air out in front here, a good warm sector forming up, and then we've got some incredibly dry air behind here and cold air. So like I've been saying for a while now, if we can ever get a boundary between those two air masses, we're going to see thunderstorms. And we definitely see that here in Kansas down through Oklahoma. And it gets a little bit more intense as I push this forward. There's an odd feature here that, you don't see very often. We've got two dry lines sort of converging on an area of warm air in an unusual way. It kind of reminds me of a zipper here. Watch this as I push it forward. Zip. It just comes together, and then we've got like a triple axis of air masses here, where we've got some very cold and dry air up here, some a little bit warmer and drier air over here, and then warm and moist air over here, and they all kind of come together in this one point here in south central Kansas and northern Oklahoma. And once again, that's the area where I think if we do get a supercell that forms up there, a renegade storm that pops up all by itself outside of the linear system, we could be talking about a big storm, possibly a tornadic storm in that area. We've also got some pretty good CAPE to work with. As I was saying earlier, the CAPE values are really low up here in Iowa. We really get some good CAPE values down here, once again, right here on the border of Kansas and Oklahoma. Now remember, the vast majority of the storms are going to be happening up here with less convective energy to work with. If we don't get any sort of precipitation, any sort of storms that form down here, then the severe weather threat is going to be significantly diminished, because we really need something to pop up down here and take advantage of these increased convective energy areas to really get something going. So the storms up here could be intense, once again, mainly big hail, but we're going to see even stronger storms if we can get something down here where we're reaching close to 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE. So let's play this storm through once again. Here it is, and there it goes. Of course, you guys want to look at the snow totals. Well, here they are. Looks like a broad range of 2 to 4 inches is going to be possible through much of South Dakota, northwest Nebraska, central Minnesota, all the way up into the upper peninsula of Michigan, into Ontario, with an embedded area of 3 to 6 inches likely, a very small area in the middle there that could affect areas like Lake Traverse and Fergus Falls, and all the way up into the Superior National Forest there as you get into northern Minnesota there. I know it's a little cut off, but that's what the snow totals are looking like. And obviously we're going to have some heavier totals in the mountains of Wyoming and Colorado, but that's nothing compared to this next storm. Wait for it. All right, now we're going to look at the second storm on the Euro because the NAM can't see that far. And we're going to zoom out to the whole United States again, but we're going to focus right here. Let's put this into motion now. We're working all the way into Saturday, March 13th, and we get our second storm system finally forming. Look at this big pocket of cold air that this storm is pulling in down behind it. This is going way down into Mexico. It's going to bring some colder than average temperatures down into the Los Angeles region. It's a pretty odd setup where we've got warm air that comes up over here. We've got warm air out in front of it, and we've just got this really squeezed in pocket of cold air back here in the mountains in the Four Corners region. And the upper air dynamics are going to try to pull this cold air through the mountains into the Midwest. And the way that has to work out is it's going to be slow, and it's going to require some buckling of the jet stream. So that's why we're going to be talking about this storm as if it's a monster storm, because we're going to be talking about measuring snow in feet in the Front Range of Colorado here, and we're going to talk about a multi-day severe weather threat as this slow-moving big system moves through. All right, so here's the beginning of it. We've got storms popping up in Texas and Oklahoma, heavy rain over here in Arkansas and Missouri. Once again, this kind of looks concerning to me in this area because we've got that flooding threat once again as these waves of moisture just kind of go over the same areas over and over again as these storms try to form up. But the first thing we're going to look at is the snow. Look at the heavy snow there in Colorado. it really gets heavy on March 13th around 4 p.m. Like, we're talking about extremely heavy snow here. Eastern Colorado and in the Front Range, in Denver, and then all the way out into the plains of Colorado. Some very heavy snow falling right here. And then out in front of it, of course, we've got the heavy rain and severe weather threat. And then that snow just kind of sticks around for a while. We're all the way at 1 a.m. on Sunday, March 14th, and we're still dealing with the heavy snow. It's moved up a little bit into Wyoming and Nebraska. And once again, we've got our line of severe thunderstorms possibly forming up here in Texas. That's going to move east. All this is going to move to the north and east. Check this out. Western Nebraska is still seeing heavy snow. It's just kind of sitting there. Once again, that low pressure system has to pull all of this cold air with it across those mountains before it can go anywhere. So it's just like, you know, it's carrying the weight. And then we've got heavy snow moving into northern Nebraska, southern South Dakota here, with once again an area of heavy rain and storms in front of it. This right here is going to be a severe weather day for Texas and Oklahoma. And then finally, that area of cold air makes it out into the plains and it kind of just disperses, and we get this big old Boeing system that comes out of it here. Maybe a line of strong and severe thunderstorms down here in the Dixie Alley, and some heavier snows moving up through South Dakota into Minnesota, all the way up into Wisconsin and Michigan there. And then eventually it's going to bring some snow to the northeast. This will be light snow for Massachusetts and upstate New York there. And then, of course, if we go all the way out, the Euro shows another storm forming around the 19th of March with another little cold pocket in it there and a big warm sector in front of it, which could lead to some significant severe weather once again. Let's get a better look at how these storms are going to play out with the instantaneous flash rate. Once again, this is our severe weather threat for tomorrow. It's going to be late in the day tomorrow into the day on Thursday, so keep that in mind. There's our storms popping up. This one says maybe even we get some storms popping up as far south as Texas, and that turns into a linear system and goes across Missouri into Illinois. Once again, these storms aren't going to be strong or severe per se, but they will be putting down heavy rain, and this is a waterlogged area. We've got the Ohio River. It's flooding like crazy right now. I really do think we're going to see more problems with that as we get these leftover rain showers just going over this area over and over again. Look at that, just constant inundation of rain. On March 12th, we get another little pop-up system of some possibly severe weather here in Texas and Oklahoma. Look at this. Those are strong storms possibly going across the area there. And then we get a little bit more organized on March 13th. Look at this. Once again, this is what I was saying earlier. This is going to be a severe weather day in Oklahoma and Texas as that second storm really starts winding up here. You can see the storms very clearly there on the instantaneous flash rate. That moves east, and then we have a little bit of some of that left over in the Dixie Alley region all the way back in March 17th. And you can see here now when that third system shows up and we get that big surge of warm Gulf moist air, we're going to be talking about widespread storms now with an emphasis down here on the coast. So a ton of activity getting ready to happen. We're really starting to spark up here with severe weather and snow. Look at all the snow that the Euro is forecasting here. This is a monster snowstorm. Let's look at Colorado first. And now this model runs a little bit further north than what a lot of the other ones have been, but we're still talking about measuring the snow close to 2 feet up here in northeastern Colorado. Denver looks like you're definitely going to get over a foot. This will waffle back and forth north and south as we get closer. But look at Nebraska, man, 39 inches over here. Seriously? This is in the Scottsbluff and Alliance area. So once again, measuring the snow in feet out here with this monster winter storm that's going to bring a lot of snow to a lot of people, even as far northeast as Minnesota here. It looks like near Duluth, you could be picking up on 6 inches or more of snow. But the big bullseye here is going to be right here in southern South Dakota, eastern Wyoming, northeastern Colorado, extreme northwestern Kansas, and much of Nebraska there. So definitely an interesting system to watch. I do believe that this possibly could end up with a little bit bigger of a tongue here that brings more snow to Minnesota and Iowa and Wisconsin. But as of right now, this is what it looks like, boys. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you slap a like on it, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on as I post updates almost every single day, and you don't want to miss a video. If you want more weather takes from me and these videos aren't enough, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Ryan Hall, y'all, because I'm pretty active on there. And if you ever want to ask me a question directly, that's the best place to do it because I respond to almost everybody on there. All the links for all my social medias are down in the description below. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Goodbye.